Monday Night Raw Hot Takes, where I take your thoughts, your opinions, your hot takes from the previous episode of Raw, SmackDown, and or PLEs. And if they ever bring back WWE Legends House, well, I think I was the only one who ever watched that show, so I doubt anybody would send in hot takes. So let's get started. We got Logan Paul challenging for the world title, and people, they've got opinions. First, we're going to start with Biggie Cheese. Logan Paul should never win the world title. And then we got Lucas Paris saying, I think Logan Paul should seriously be considered to win the title. Fire on the mic and in the ring as always. Then we have FT Bale XX. Logan Paul versus Jey Uso is a great IC US title feud, not a world title feud. So I think that one's the middle ground. I think Logan Paul started in WWE. It's like nobody wanted him here, right? Myself included. And then he surprised all of us, and we were like, dang, this guy's actually not bad in the ring, which I also was surprised by him. And then he's kind of come full circle in that everybody's like, oh yeah, wait a second, we don't like this guy. And it seems like his hate is like more than the normal. Like he actually has heat. And I'm going to say this though, I like a heel that has some actual heat. And so like, I'm not opposed to Logan Paul being in the WWE. I know a lot of people, sometimes they're surprised because I'm such an old school wrestling fan for me to be like, oh wow, you actually like Logan Paul? How can you? You're a horrible wrestling fan, Chop, because you like Logan Paul. And I'm not saying like I like him as a person, but like he has heat. If you noticed throughout last night, Seth Rollins had no heat. The crowd did not really boo him. In fact, he got the crowd to boo CM Punk because of all the things that he doesn't garner heat. He has his ring entrance music where the crowd just sings along. He talks about the city, which is a cheap way to get a pop. He does all these things that a face does. So now when he goes up against Sami Zayn, I'm not really rooting for Sami. Last night, I was like, well, what did Seth do so wrong? I should automatically just hate Seth right now because he stole Paul Heyman, he attacked Roman Reigns, he attacked CM Punk, and yet the things that they're doing with Seth gets no heat. Becky Lynch, no heat whatsoever. Again, the music where people can sing along to, she's just super strong and confident and stuff. It's like, if the crowd is not going to boo the heels, then WWE needs to get people that they will boo. And Logan Paul is someone that will be booed. Now, the question is, does he deserve the world title? That's a whole nother topic, but does he deserve to be a challenger for the world title? I could see it. He challenged Roman Reigns. He challenged Cody Rhodes. It's not outside of his character to get world title shots. And I know, I just probably lost 100 subscribers by not totally bashing Logan Paul, but if I can entice you to not unsubscribe, well then you can win this belt right here. That's right. You can win this belt. I'm giving it away. All you got to do is comment below and be a subscriber. So you can't unsubscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, then subscribe and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and maybe a thumbs up. I am trying to quit the day job. I am trying to do this full time, and I am trying to produce wrestling content every single day. I appreciate every single one of you. Let's get to the next hot take. Let's do one more Logan Paul, then we'll get to the rest of the show. Anthony Alvarez. No! Bro! Come on. Not for Jey Uso's first feud. Not a feud that I'm not going to pay attention to because of how I genuinely dislike Logan Paul. All right. Heard. Vol IT Devin FFA. Hot take. If I was Sami, I would have taken the deal. He isn't going to face his friend Jey for a belt anytime soon. Your best shot at the gold is guaranteed with a deal with Paul Heyman. Why not take the deal? I'm going to be honest with you. I said this in the live stream. If like Sante Zap, the biggest wrestling YouTuber, came to me right now and was like, Chop, I will give you 100,000 subscribers, real wrestling fans, if you delete your Twitter account. I would delete that Twitter account so quick. I guess I'm just a sellout. And if I was Sami, I would have taken the deal too. John Cena has 25 appearances left, and you're giving me a chance to wrestle him? I'm taking that deal. I guess I'm just in my heel era, people. If you don't like it, Just kidding, I hate The Rock still. Ben P 4339. I felt Seth was looking into my soul with those glasses. Those glasses were outrageous. Hippie chick, I still cannot take Seth seriously. Neither can I. He's regressed. Seth, evolve. Don't regress. I literally told my friend, this is from Tiz Mickey, I literally told my friend earlier today, I thought Jey's first feud should be against Logan Paul. I literally think that's a perfect first feud. I don't know if the match will be good because of how different their fighting styles are, but Logan Paul is so hated and Jey is so loved for the most part. The dynamic is great. Honestly, that's a good point in that just the juxtaposition of their connection with the crowd. Everybody Logan Paul is the most booed, already talked about that, and Jey Uso is definitely the most cheered within the arena itself. I would actually be more invested in how the crowd would react and how those two would perform against each other. And the fighting style thing is a good point too. I think Logan Paul is great in the ring, but he's also very rehearsed. I think that he probably rehearses his match more so than the other wrestlers, and I would be a little worried that Jey Uso is very unrehearsed. So I wonder if they can pull off a very good and solid match. But who knows? Maybe Jey Uso, he pulled out a really good and solid promo. Maybe Jey Uso stepping up his game and can hang. I would very much be interested in the crowd reaction there. I think that would be a very fun one to experience live. Donatello Leonardo, they got Gunther that bus to make sure he's more comfortable for him when he has to pack up and be sent to AAA after they force him to be dogged by Pat McAfee at Backlash. A lot of people don't like the idea of Gunther in a program with a ring announcer right now. I actually don't mind it as much, but let's see what other people have to say. Zab Hassan, Triple H is mishandling Gunther. The match with Jey was bad enough, but putting him in an actual feud with McAfee completely misunderstands why people liking him are losing their minds last week. So I like Gunther. If you go back on my channel, I really do like Gunther. There was only a period of time where I kind of lost faith in Gunther, and that's when he was fighting Damian Priest. So I will be harsh on Gunther when I feel that it's needed, but I honestly don't mind this feud. Maybe I should just not even do these hot takes today, because I think a lot of people are going to think that I've lost my mind. Here I am saying, oh, Logan Paul's not that bad. I don't mind a Gunther McAfee matchup. And the reason why I don't mind it is because it makes sense within the storyline parameter. Gunther lost a match that he didn't feel he should have lost, right? He lost it. And so now he's losing his mind. He gets mad at the announcers, but then he attacks an announcer, but it's within Pat McAfee's chaotic nature to actually go up against Gunther. Pat McAfee being an athlete, I think we forget that he is actually well known outside of the world of wrestling, in the world of fake sports like football, ESPN, and all of these things. So he'll get a lot of press there, but he's also wrestled Adam Cole when Adam Cole's name meant something. He's been in War Games, and he's actually fought Austin Theory at WrestleMania. Now, I'm not saying he's at the level of Gunther. No way. And I don't think he should win. I really don't think he should win. This should be about an 8-minute match where Pat McAfee gets about 2 minutes of offense. That's all he needs. Pat McAfee doesn't need to win this feud. He just needs to have the moral victory that he stood up to a bully. That's about it. Gunther should murder him. He definitely should murder him. And if Gunther loses, even by surprise roll-up, I will be irate. I will definitely be irate. But right now, I'm not worried. I don't think Gunther's going to lose. If you think Gunther's going to lose, make sure you watch my live stream, because I will go insane. I will go insane if Gunther loses to Pat McAfee. This could literally be one of the only things in today's WWE landscape that could make me want to quit watching wrestling. but no way. I just don't believe it. I'm okay with the feud, but I don't believe Triple H is that crazy to let Gunther lose to Pat McAfee. There's no way. I'm not hating this feud because Gunther's going to win. Jimbo Slice, Roman, Punk, and Seth all being tied up in a one storyline has thinned out the options for potential feuds, wherein before we had three marquee storylines, we now have one. The rest of the stories besides Cena's all fall flat. Jey is feuding with Logan. Drew is now in the mid-card. Gunther is fighting a commentator, and Cody is written off. I think that's a fair statement, but I don't fully agree with it at the same time. The Jey Logan Paul thing just started, so I think give it a little time. But then again, to be fair, Backlash is like, a week or two away, so maybe there's not enough time. We got Drew in the mid-card. Don't like that. I agree 100% there. Why did he go back to the mid-card? If anything, he could just fight Cody Rhodes. You said Cody Rhodes written off TV. Have Drew call out Cody being like, dude, this is what I said would happen, and then it happened. And Gunther is fighting a commentator. Again, I think Gunther has had the title for 80% of his tenure at WWE. I think it's okay for him to kind of diverge a little and do a little more sports entertainment stuff right now to prove that he's that he can be a top guy that they want. And I wouldn't mind if after this, maybe Ilya Dragunov comes and those guys have a match, and you can even work this into it. Maybe Ilya Dragunov comes and says, dude, what are you doing? You're Gunther. You're like my most heated rivalry. You lost your belt to Jey Uso. You are fighting commentators. Fight me. I'm going to bring back that fighter in you. It's like two old foes with respect for each other trying to get the best out of each other. And that could be like a best of, they probably won't do best of 7, but what if they did? What if they did? But then people would get mad that Gunther lost 3 matches. But like, honestly, I would love, they could do 2 out of 3. How about that? 2 out of 3, and it culminates at SummerSlam, Ilya Dragunov and Gunther. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Jimbo Slice. Maybe this is an opportunity to raise people up, because let's be honest, who's Roman gonna feud with? If Roman's not feuding with Seth, I don't think he's going to be feuding with Punk anytime soon. Maybe SummerSlam or WrestleMania. And he's not going after John Cena, so Roman really has nothing to do for a little bit. Wild Joker, Becky taking out Bayley was lazy and repetitive writing. Yeah, like it was, because they literally just did this with Jade Cargill. The twist here is, though, that Becky just admitted that she did it. So they did put a twist on it. So I'll give them credit for that. Although Logan is a good wrestler, he's still a trash character. At least you're booing him, though. At least you have some visceral feelings for him. Jey Uso against Logan is a little lackluster on paper. I can see that. If he gives Jey a heck of a fight compared to Gunther match, yeah, I think it's going to be a little more even Steven, this one. And then I don't know how I'm going to feel about that one. Yeah, I'm like... It could easily be a car crash in regards to the in-ring work here. So I'm a little, that's what I'm most concerned about. I'm okay with him getting a shot. I don't think Logan Paul should win, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not saying that Logan Paul should never win the world title, but I don't think this is the match to win the title on. And then, honestly, would have found it oddly cool if Sami instead did join Seth entirely. Yeah, could you imagine if Sami was just like, okay, I'll go to SmackDown, and then we have John Cena versus Sami Zayn. People will lose their minds. KB, hot take. This Raw put me to sleep. Don't see what was so good that y'all liked about it, but okay. I guess, shrug emoji. I guess I just need a break. The mediocrity just not doing it for me. One good segment doesn't make a good show. Nothing exciting is going on, and quite frankly, I'm tired of watching out of habit. I've been there where I've wanted to quit watching wrestling, and not necessarily because one thing happened, but just because, it's so dull. And I did watch out of habit. I think like I had a decade of that. 2011 or maybe 2012 or 13 to about 2020-ish. Like it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't compelling must-see TV. I will say, I would hate for you to quit watching wrestling. Normally normally I tell people, like, if you gotta take a break, go take a break. But I would miss you on the channel. So, like, selfishly, I don't want you to take a break. But ultimately, I don't want you to leave the product entirely. So maybe a break is okay for a little bit, or maybe catch up on the big stuff on social media and then watch the PLEs. But I don't know. I think, I know you're a huge Roman supporter, and without the bloodline, it's like WWE is definitely moving away from the bloodline, and so it's like, it's tough. I remember there have been a couple times, like, I remember after the Attitude Era, it was like, oh man, how do we pick up the pieces? There is, and then it went into Ruthless Aggression, and it was good, but there is a period in between really hot storylines and not hot storylines where you have to adjust, and it's almost like throwing cold water on somebody who's been sleeping. It's like, wait a second, what's going on here? So KB, I don't really have a good answer for you other than you got to do what you feel is best for your long-term enjoyment of the product. I hope you don't leave, but I would rather you not leave wrestling. So do what you gotta do. We'll always be here for you. Rafael Domenico, I'm waiting for my face Bronson Reed to attack Seth. Yeah. Ooh, man, face Bronson Reed. I hope they don't do that. Bronson Reed is such a good villain. He is such a good villain. I mean, maybe Seth talks to him and gets him on board. He joins. Like, it would be good for, would it be bad for Bronson Reed? Bailey Jones, Becky has done something I never thought possible. She knocked Roxanne out of her spot of being my least favorite wrestler, which sucks because I loved her, but I can't stand by hurting my girl Bailey. I am very surprised that Becky has done that. There's some backscene stuff that I'm going to hold off saying. I've said it on other videos about, did Becky take Bailey's spot, or was Becky just given the spot? I don't know at WrestleMania, but storyline wise, you've got a new arch nemesis, Bailey. Don Juan DXT, this Raw sucked again. I actually kind of liked it. I'm not going to lie. I actually kind of liked it. Like, the Seth thing, it had its problems. It definitely had its problems, and I think I figured out the new format of Raw. They have two really long matches with the one's going to be a mid-card and one's going to be kind of an upper card, and they did that with the women's division both weeks in a row now. But this one had threads throughout the show where we got multiple segments of Sami Zayn, multiple segments of Jey Uso and Logan Paul. So I actually liked that part of Raw. I think that's what made it interesting to me, and it made it more like, I don't know, it made it more cohesive, solid, more easy to follow. I don't know. I liked multiple segments within a show. Armani Goodwin agrees. I like how this Raw, they progressed the main angle throughout the episode instead of being one-off segment, and that's it. And God's Chosen says, that's how it used to be done in the Attitude Era. I thought the same thing. Get a hook to carry throughout the entire show. Gareth Connor agrees, 100% how it used to be. Mania had no backstage segments, had a street fight, and that was entirely the build. Yeah, so there you go. A lot of people kind of agree that we like these threads throughout the show. And Mania, yeah, you would get one segment, and then you'd have to wait a week to see the follow-up. It's like, aren't these guys backstage? Like, why wouldn't they be still hating each other backstage? My hero is John Cena. I think Seth Rollins' new group should be named Future Kings. I'm actually going to do a video, probably tomorrow, on maybe, I don't know if I'll do names for the group, but people who should be added. Like, are they going to be Evolution? Are they going to be the Four Horsemen? Are they going to be Paul E's Dangerous Alliance? I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow. Ken Rock, Finn should join Seth's new group. Well, I guess Seth's group needs a jobber. I hate that Finn Balor's a jobber, but let's be honest. My hero is John Cena. I think the only reason we're getting Gunther versus Pat McAfee is that Goldberg can come back and fight Gunther, and just hope that I'm wrong. Oh God, what if this is? What if Gunther is beating the crap out of Pat McAfee so bad that Goldberg comes out and saves him? Oh, God. I might be against this feud after all. Even the mere possibility that this could be the segue to that. Because while I think in no world Pat McAfee is going to beat Gunther, there's a fear there is a big fear that Gunther will be positioned to lose against Goldberg. Oh my God. Can I take back everything I said? I do not want this feud happening if there's even a possibility that this gets a Goldberg-Gunther feud. God, I don't want that. No Goldberg. Call this match off. No Gunther versus Pat McAfee. Please. No Goldberg at all. 'Tis Mickey. Sometimes when I look at Sami, I just am in awe because he was such a jobber 3 years ago. You know what? You're right. Sami Zayn, and he doesn't even look the part. He does not look like a main eventer. Granted, he's kind of like an upper mid-card and lower main event guy, but still he's in the main events. And it's like, he was kind of a jobber or a comedy act a couple years ago. There's an example for you. This guy was fighting, those guys from that show that does like the stunts. What is his name? I don't even know. They do all the stunts. Remember, he was at WrestleMania and a giant hand hit him in the face. Can you imagine? Like, that was one of the best matches of that WrestleMania. And so there you have it. You can fight non-wrestlers and still have a path forward. And yeah, that was a great match. And Sami Zayn has come a long way. And I will say thank you, Roman Reigns, because I truly believe Roman Reigns elevated Sami Zayn to where he is right now. And the bloodline, and the entire bloodline, to be fair. That said, he better not turn heel on Jey by letting Karrion and Seth get in his ear, but I can see it because Braun and Seth in his Persian robes just beat him up, and Jey hasn't been around to help him. Yes, I know Logan beat him up, but Sami doesn't know that. Plus, they can always go back to the fact that Jey eliminated him in the Rumble. I think it's going to happen. It's like kind of Wrestling 101 where, eventually Sami's going to have to get jealous. And you're right. Karrion Kross is still in his ear. Seth is still in his ear. And Jey and Sami did specifically say, I want the world title. Does he go back on his morals for that world championship? Who knows? Maybe Kevin Owens gives him a call from the hospital and he says, go for it, Sami. Pro Gamer RKO, Sami Zayn completely outclassed Seth Rollins on the mic tonight, and it wasn't even close. Rollins, who usually rides on energy and catchphrases, felt hollow compared to Sami's raw, emotional delivery. Sami made the stakes feel real, while Seth sounded like he was playing a character. The thing is, this sucks. Seth has gone back to his most annoying character. I wish he went back to either the Monday Night Messiah or stuff, but I don't like this crazy Joker Seth Rollins. It's his most annoying. He should continue to be the architect, the guy that got him the victory at WrestleMania. He shouldn't go to this, like, you're right, he's playing a character now. He's not being Seth Rollins, and we need Seth Rollins. And he goes on to say, if WWE was smart, they'd pivot and make Sami the centerpiece of this feud because right now he's the one the fans believe in. I think Sami's here to get Jey here and to get the title on Seth. After Jey disposes of Logan Paul, I believe that Jey will then be entered into this feud here. Noah Trimpey, at some point in the future, Rollins faction and Rusev need to interact. Each has now established a desire to change the company from within, but fit their version of what is right. But will Rollins and Rusev agree on that vision or fight over it? It seems like Rusev, who says he wants to make all the weak people and he wants to mold them into better people, seems like he would fit probably more so within Seth's group than opposed to it, because I don't see in Rusev's mind, he looks at like Otis and Tozawa as weak, and I don't think he can then look at Seth and be like, that's someone who is weak. So I think it would fit more for Seth to go to Rusev. And here's a real hot take. Fat Shady says that Pat McAfee's promo was fire. My God, that was fire. For a minute, it felt like Dusty had been reincarnated and was letting loose. I was ridiculously impressed. Now, he is a longtime fan, and he did bow out for a minute, but I'm pretty sure Fat Shady was there when, he was probably around when we got the hard times from Dusty Rhodes. And Pat McAfee, honestly, if people could get over their I hate this guy on commentary and just listen to him sometimes, Pat McAfee does add value. I think he did a really good promo. I would have probably shaved a minute or two off of that promo, but it was pretty good. Probably a minute. If he would have shaved a 1 minute off that promo, it would have been a really, it could have been a 9 or a 10 promo, but it was a 7 or an 8, and it was very, very, very well delivered, very good within the character of Pat McAfee, and made it believable why he would be challenging Gunther. So I am with you, Fat Shady. I thought that Pat McAfee did a really good job putting himself over and the feud. And don't forget, everybody, if you unsubscribe to me, you can't win the belt. So, Raphael at air, Logan Paul versus Jey Uso is disappointing and too soon. They should have had their match on a later PLE, but not on Backlash. The only reason why I think it's okay here is because if you look at Damian Priest, his build last year, his first match was against Jey Uso, somebody who wasn't really high up in the main event scene. So I'm thinking if we follow the template of what they did with Damian Priest last year, then it wouldn't be bad for Jey Uso, because it definitely worked. I think by the time that Damian Priest got to SummerSlam, he was considered a main eventer. So if they just follow the template of what worked, then maybe. And since Jey Uso can't fight Jey Uso, well, I guess he could fight Jimmy Uso. No. Jey Uso can't fight Jey Uso, then Logan Paul does kind of, remember what Tismicky said, the fan reaction is kind of the opposite of him, so it seems like a good substitute for Jey Uso fighting Jey Uso, from last year. Then we got number 2, Becky and Lyra. Promo wasn't bad, but it came at the cost of Bayley's WrestleMania 41 spot. Becky saved the angle by admitting she took out Bayley, but setting up their feud for maybe SummerSlam. Yeah, they definitely saved and salvaged it here. I think they could have done everything different to keep Bayley in WrestleMania, but it is what it is at this point. At least we'll get a Becky Bayley fight. Babs is here. The prophecy is true. Seth's eyes? I don't know what you mean by that, but his glasses were funny. JSE, Mug Azah, hot take. I loved the plot heavy episode. So did I. I loved it. I love heavy plot. I love heavy plots. It's my thing. R Brinks 5, Bron Breakker. Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Bron Breakker definitely had a tan. Definitely had a tan this week. Bron Breakker. That's good. SSTG8IF, Seth Rollins is a cornball. You can't build anything around him. Everything they made him the focus point of a group, it fell flat. I don't know. I think you can make a good story around him, but he is a cornball right now, and he needs to stop doing that, because that will definitely derail this group. Why is it Paul Heyman telling him to be serious? Cut with the ha-ha-ha stuff. Hopefully Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker break away from Rollins and start their own dynamic. It'll eventually happen, 100%. In about a year, Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman are going to portray Seth Rollins. Dr. Basuraba, this feud with Logan Paul will elevate Jey Uso's championship reign. This feud, although I hate Logan Paul, could help both superstars go to the next level, bringing them into a marquee main event headline position. Love it. Also, Seth Rollins is him, and Bron Breakker is the next big thing. I like the positive take on everything. 2 takes. They planted the seeds for Austin to leave Grayson, so it only makes sense to have him leave the young upstart prodigy to join Evolution 2.0. He's got the mic skills and has more than enough wrestling ability. I think Austin would be a good fit in that group. Take 2. A Kofi Jey feud sounds crazy, but I really would like to see it. There's potential. Kofi as a heel has been amazing, and there's already a story there. Actually, I would like to see that too. I think people would be like, oh, what a mid feud, but Kofi's a former world champion. He's been around for a very long time, and there's a lot of history between the Usos and the New Day. I would love that, and I'm loving Kofi as a heel. If you go back and watch the War Raiders match, or don't even watch the War Raiders match, listen to the War Raiders match. Kofi and Xavier Woods was on commentary yesterday. It was so fire. They were so funny. It was amazing. Let heel Kofi in the main event scene for maybe 1 or 2 PLEs. I would love that, and maybe he would show that he deserves to be in more than just 1 or 2, and maybe just belongs there, period. That boy Cord, the build to Backlash is cooking, but the show itself is going to have some stinky matches. Yeah, on paper it's a little odd if you look at it. Like, ooh, Logan Paul wrestling Jey Uso. I could see why people would still, like, on paper, look at Logan Paul and scratch their head. And then Pat McAfee versus Gunther. On paper, doesn't seem... Well, on paper and even in the presentation, doesn't seem like a lot of people want it. But Randy Orton versus John Cena. We are flawed. Seth, childish dancing, old lady cackle, thrift store gear, and general immaturity stops me from taking him seriously. That thrift store gear was actually $13,000, I guess. But I think it's fair what you said. We are flawed. It's like, I want him to feel like a threat, but he doesn't because of his presentation. I'm not saying you have to be Roman Reigns, but just be the dude that you were before WrestleMania. That guy was like, he was threatening enough. When he was like kind of poking at Paul Heyman and saying, like, I'm going to bully you or something. Whenever he was bullying Paul Heyman, that was the Seth that should be leading this group, not the old lady cackle Seth Rollins. Booker Man, TTJC, I like what they're doing with Dom's story, and I feel like all the Easter eggs they scattered are worth collecting. I feel like the Karrion and Ludwig are going to play a major role in him retaining his title. I also get the vibe he's going to have a lot of multi-man matches to increase the odds of retaining, as there are no DQs and his opponents can weaken each other. I wouldn't mind that, actually. What if Dominic, like, literally connives his way to be like the best triple threat wrestler of all time, because he always just waits for an opportunity. Then we got Bishop Marley. Gunther has lost his aura, and it is okay for the enraged fallen king to lose to an impassioned underdog. See, I disagree. I feel this beating up the announcers regained aura, but it is not okay to lose to the announcers. And also, the color commentator coming to the defense of the broadcast partner is a tale as old as time. McAfee goes over at Backlash. So you're right about the wrestling trope of the color commentator coming to his aid, but Gunther needs to win. Gunther needs to win. Gosh, I'm gonna come up with some kind of crazy thing. If Gunther loses, I'm gonna do something. I just don't even know. There's just no way Gunther's gonna lose. I refuse. I refuse to believe it. Moses Fair, I really hope they set the course for Seth or Braun going after the world title, because no matter how popular Jey is, if he's not in the actual main event, the title will lose more and more prestige. I definitely agree with that. After like maybe a month, 2 months tops, the world title needs to be in the main event, seen at all times. And if that means, if they're not going to position Jey Uso to be in the main event, then the belt needs to go to who is positioned in the main event. Now, I'm all for Jey staying in the main event, but he has to be in the feud that everything revolves around. Right now, he is not. To be fair, Gunther typically wasn't either. And I do feel that world title has lost its prestige. We need to rebuild it because Seth Rollins, ironically, when he first got it, he made that title worth something. We need to make it worth something again. So it needs to get in that main event. Jey Uso or not, Seth Rollins or not, the world title in the main event. And boys, girls, those are my hot takes. I know not all of you probably agreed with me, and that's okay. We're allowed to disagree. Except for on Goldberg. We all have to agree that Goldberg is trash, and we don't want him beating Gunther. That is like, we all agree on that. We do? Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Boys, girls, have yourselves a great day.